book of Genesis records a dream the patriarch Jacob had, in which he sees a ladder stretching from earth to heaven, with angels climbing between the two. Most cultures draw a distinction between the spiritual and physical realms. Most also identify certain beings who have the power to travel between the two, not fully divine nor fully mortal, who interact with humans for good or for ill. Today we are taking a look at these mysterious beings and what they may mean for us, these angels we encounter along the road. One of the reasons the Old Testament is so important to our understanding of Christianity is that it lays the groundwork for everything that comes after. How can we understand who the Messiah is if we don't understand the events that created that messianic expectation? How can we understand language about sacrifice and the blood of the Lamb if we don't know something about the temple sacrificial cult in Jerusalem? And how can we understand about the new heavenly Jerusalem if we don't know the history of the earthly one? Likewise with angels. In the Old Testament, we find just one word translated as angel, the Hebrew word malach, which means messenger. The Hebrew prophet Malachi is named for his function, that of a messenger from God. Thus it is an angel that appears to Hagar in the desert with the message that she is to return to Sarai and God will bless and multiply her descendants. And an angel who prevents Abraham from sacrificing his only son Isaac and reiterates to him the message that his offspring will be numerous and a source of blessing to the nations. These angels, however, may not be what you imagine. They have no wings, no halos, no flowing white robes. They seldom receive any real description at all. What is important is not the form they take, but rather the message they carry. When two angels appear to Lot in Sodom, they are simply described as house guests. When an angel appears to Manoah and his wife, who would become the mother of the mighty Samson, it is again described in human terms, to whom Manoah extends hospitality. Most often these angels are not recognized as such until after they depart. Distinct from these, however, are the heavenly beings, attendants to God, whose form varies widely and who are described in otherworldly language. The cherub, whose name means mighty, is often described in polymorphic terms, possessing the best characteristics of each creature represented. We see forms of cherubs in other Middle Eastern cultures as well, such as the Egyptian Sphinx, the Hittite griffin, and the powerful Assyrian Shedu. It was this sort of creature that the Hebrew prophet Ezekiel described when he wrote, "These were the living creatures that I saw underneath the God of Israel by the river Chebar, and I knew that they were cherubim. Each had 4 faces, each 4 wings, and underneath their wings something like human hands." The cherubim are depicted as fearful creatures who serve as guardians of the holy places and of the throne of God. It is a cherub with a flaming sword that God assigns to guard the entrance to the Garden of Eden. And in the book of 2 Samuel, God is depicted as riding upon a cherub like a battle steed. Today, if we think of a cherub at all, we most often imagine a plump winged baby, the product not of Scripture, but of a conflation with Cupid, the Greek god of love, and the later belief that those who died in infancy became angels. A far cry from the terrifying guardians described in Scripture. Another heavenly attendant was the seraph, a name which means not angel, but fiery serpent. It's mentioned only once in the 6th chapter of Isaiah as part of a vision. Seraphs were in attendance above him, each had 6 wings. With 2 they covered their faces, and with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they flew. And one called to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Over time, these seraphs were given more human characteristics. In the case of both the cherubim and the seraphim, Scripture seems less intent on giving us a realistic description than on depicting a completely otherworldly creature resistant to any rational description. Although these are the only forms of angels described in the Old Testament, it didn't stop artists and theologians, both Jewish and Christian, from expanding the ranks of angels into a vast military-like hierarchy. So how did we end up with our current image of angels as beautiful, winged, white-robed beings? Ancient Persian Zoroastrianism had a profound influence on Judaism, and later Christianity. According to their teachings, the good and wise Lord Ahura Mazda sent out guardian angels to guide and protect people in life. At the same time, the evil Lord Angra Mainyu sent out devas, from which we get our word devils, to tempt and torment people. These angels and devils were locked in constant battle for the souls of human beings. This notion was reinforced by the animistic Roman belief that everything in nature, each tree, stream, animal, and men and women, had their own animating spirit. These ideas eventually coalesced into the idea of a personal guardian angel who watches over and assists each of us. The idea that in heaven there is no infirmity, sickness, or deformity ensured that these personal angels enjoyed eternal youth and beauty. So what are we to make of angels? Are they real beings or the product of overzealous imaginations? The cherubim and seraphim, like rare birds, are seen rarely, and then most often in the realm of visions and poetry. They seem less like actual beings and more like symbols of God's overwhelming power and dominion. They are the guardians of the sacred, glimpsed only by those who approach the boundary between the two. But the Malach is another matter. The divine messengers who encounter us on the road and at our work and in our homes seem much less exotic, but much more accessible and helpful. These are the ones who move in and out of our lives, carrying messages and inspiring faith. These are the garden variety angels, of which Paul writes, "Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, some have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it." If an angel is a messenger, then what is to prevent us from serving as angels to each other, carrying messages of comfort and encouragement, travel along the road.